Altea, Spain is a place I've come to love over the last several years, and today I want to introduce you to this beautiful city on the sea. We'll cover the location, the climate, the history, and then we'll take a look at the cost of living, the cost to rent or buy a house, and help you to see all that Altea has to offer you as a visitor or maybe even as a resident. Hi, my name is Nicole. Welcome to my channel Travel to Money, where I share about how to travel, adventure, and have fun on the road to financial independence, especially if that road is leading you to Spain. Altea is a city in the Valencian region of Spain, toward the north of the province of Alicante. It would take almost an hour and a half to drive there from Valencia and about 35 minutes to drive from Alicante. For those of you who follow my journey in Pego, Spain, it's about a 35-minute drive from there. Other nearby cities you might be familiar with are Benidorm, just to the south, which is known for being a big party city, and the illustrious Moraira is not far to the north on the coast. This is one of my favorite areas to go hiking. I always thought my hike was in Altea, but it turns out that the beachfront is shared with another town. But let me tell you, this hike is not to be missed if you're in the area of Altea. I have probably made this walk somewhere between 5 and 10 times. It is one of my favorite places to take visitors for many reasons. The path is paved, the incline is gradual, and the views are just breathtaking the entire way. The walk ends out at a lighthouse, and there are several places to stop and take photos along the way. On my last visit with friends, we decided to fly the drone from here to capture the beauty of the seaside and the city of Altea in the distance on the hill. As you walk, there are a lot of information panels along the way to learn about the history and the surrounding nature. While you're walking back, as long as the day isn't too cloudy, you can see this cutout of a mountain in the distance. It has a very specific tail that goes along with the shape you see in the mountain, so look out for that in the signage. But now let's head over to the beachfront, where, as you can imagine, there is a stunning area to sunbathe, play in the water, or visit any one of the many shops and restaurants. This area is quite common for tourists, but I've never visited when it seemed overcrowded. Of course, I don't visit in the summer, so that could be why I'm lucky enough to always miss the big crowds. If you've been there in the summer, I'd love to know what you thought about the tourism and whether it seemed overwhelming or not. Okay, so the population of Altea is at 23,000 and 35% of the residents are non-Spanish. So if you're English speaking and you don't speak Spanish yet, this would easily have a lot of built-in community that you could connect with. For size comparison, my town of Pego has 10,000 residents, so it's under half the size of Altea. One of the things I like about Altea is the proximity to the water. You'll notice with a lot of coastal Spanish towns that there is a beach area, but the town often sits at quite a distance from the beach. However, in the case of Altea, you can be in the old town and it's just a 10-minute walk to the beach, so it's really got it all right there. Speaking of the old town, this one is a gem, which is why you can expect to see plenty of tourists in this area. The old town houses the most famous church with the blue dome, and as you walk the area inside the walls, you are certain to fall for its charm. There are cobbled, winding streets and whitewashed houses that seem to transport you to another time. Altea actually holds the title of Cultural Capital of the Autonomous Community of Valencia, which says a lot because there are some incredible cities in this region, but Altea specifically holds a fine arts university, a music conservatory, a cultural center, and a museum of ethnic music. They also have the Palau de Altea, which translates to Altea Palace, which is one of the most important performing arts venues in the Valencian region. It has an amphitheater that holds nearly 1,000 people. I'll certainly be checking to see what events will be there on my next visit. There is plenty of history to learn about in the area. As you can imagine, this hillside beach has drawn Greeks, Iberians, Romans, Muslims, and more people groups over the centuries. It was one of the areas conquered by the Moors and then reconquered by the Christians nearly 800 years later. Many of the cities in the Valencian region, including the city of Altea, have a huge festival each year called the Moors and Christians Festival. It's a really big deal where they have parades, mock battles, and elaborate costumes to remember when the Christians reconquered Spain. In general, festivals and parades are very common in Spain, but I think even more specifically in the Valencian region. There is a real joy here for life and celebration. Back to the Old Town, it is also a place to sit for a cup of coffee or for a meal. The beach area too. You really have two great options for places to stroll and enjoy the beauty of this city. Altea has a fantastic Mediterranean climate. You can look forward to hot, dry summers that are perfect for beach days, and the winter temperatures are mild. I personally love to be in this area in the late spring or in the October and November months. In a second, I'm going to get into the cost of living, but if you're considering Altea for a visit, I do want to first just cover some of the main costs for travel to this area. Your nearest international airports will be Alicante and Valencia. If you want to rent a car, except for the very busy tourist season or a few occasions throughout the year when there is some sort of special event going on, Valencia and Alicante are two cities where I regularly rent cars at unbelievable rates. I mean, sometimes paying less than $1 a day. It doesn't make any sense. Anyhow, like I said, the tourist season, your prices will be really different, but I'll leave a link in the description for the search engine I use to find the best deals. Some of my links are affiliate links, which means I get a small commission if you use the services I recommend. But it doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps to cover my costs for making free content. So thanks in advance for using those links. Now, for places to stay, I just pulled up Airbnb so we can get an idea of the difference between the off-season and the tourist season. There are a lot of places available, so my process for Airbnb is to first select amenities that I require, like Wi-Fi, kitchen, and a washing machine. From there, I use the price slider to lower the maximum price down to a much smaller number of places to look through. That way, it's easy to find the best deals. As you can see, there are a good amount of nice-looking apartments or guest homes that house at least 2 people for between $1,000 and $1,400 for a 15-day period beginning at the 1st of March. If I lower the price slider again, this time down to $1,000 at the maximum, I'm left with just 4 locations to choose from that aren't quite as nice as some of the others. Keep in mind that there could be other places available that don't have a washer or other amenities that I selected, but they won't show up here since I've listed those as a requirement. So I'm going to put in the first 15 days in July now, since that's right in the middle of the tourist season, and just see what's available. After I lower the price to $1,400 as a maximum, you can see that there are less than half the amount of properties available at that price, but still some, and only 2 properties available at under $1,000 for that time. Keep in mind that if you're staying longer, a lot of Airbnb hosts offer long stay discounts and often quite large discounts if your booking is over a month long. Okay, now let's take a look at what it might cost you to live in Altea. The cost of living specific to Altea is hard to find because the city is on the smaller side. In general, in the Alicante province, you can expect groceries for one person to be in the 150 to 200 euro range per month. But as I talk about these prices, I want you to keep something in mind. Residents who work in Spain live on much lower salaries, and many don't have the luxury of just buying whatever they want. They're on a fixed income. I feel like a lot of people from the US may come to a place like Spain, and because of seeing the lower prices, may feel like they have room to buy and or spend more. So these numbers are a budget you could live on, but really, if you're wanting to give yourself a lot of freedom when it comes to your spending, adding a cushion to these numbers for your planning would be a good idea. Going out to eat will be a bit more expensive in the touristy areas, but if you get to know the area, you'll be able to find lower prices in areas geared more toward locals. Eating in a more local or casual place will probably have you spending between 10 and 20 euro per person, but that will include a beverage like a beer or a glass of wine. If you want more upscale dining, you may be looking between 25 and 50 euro per person. Utilities in the Alicante province are generally pretty reasonable. Electricity for a 2-bedroom apartment on a normal month will likely be around 75 euro, but in months where an electric AC or heater are running constantly, that could be closer to 150 per month. Water, from what I've read, is about $20 per month. I'm not sure if it's the same in every region, but my water bill in Pego is only billed quarterly and is usually in the $40 to $60 range for 3 months, so this sounds similar. Wi-Fi is significantly less in Spain than it is in the US, and you can find options as low as 20 euro per month up to around 50 at max, and this includes options like high-speed fiber optic internet. I was just on the website for a service that I use in Spain called Avatel to see if they have options in Altea. And I just learned that they also offer a service where you can pause your internet at any time for a low monthly fee of just €4.99 per month, which is a great option for people like me who are only there for part of the year. I had no idea that was an option. I can't personally use this because I run indoor video cameras on the Wi-Fi, but I'm sure it will be a great option for others. But more good news is that they are also available in Altea. It's such great service and the internet works really well. For folks like me who do a lot of work online, this is a must. Okay, so basically for all your utilities, you should budget between $120 and $200 for a 2-bedroom apartment. Obviously, that could be significantly more for a larger house. Altea is the kind of town where you wouldn't necessarily need to have a car, but if you're interested in buying a car, that kind of cost is going to be pretty relative. I own an old but very well-kept Honda CR-V in Spain that I got for less than 2,000 euro. I pay around 300 in insurance per year, and of course the cost of yearly inspections, maintenance, and gas. But your situation will be very dependent on what kind of car you're looking to buy. Oh, and the other cost when you own a car is a road tax. Mine is about 150 euro per year. If you want to see me break down everything about owning a car in Spain, I have a video about that where I go into more of the details. So if you're spending around $200 per month on utilities, $200 per month on groceries, $200 per month on going out to eat and entertainment, a couple hundred per month on health and wellness, and about $50 per month on transportation, that's going to keep your cost of living without rent below 1,000 euro per month. Of course, you could probably get by on less than that with a really strict budget. And if you want to live more lavishly, the opportunity for that is there too. So now let's take a look at housing, beginning with rentals. Real estate agents are not regulated at all in Spain. I made a video about navigating real estate in Spain, so I'd recommend checking that out if you're considering buying. But for the purposes of this video, let me just say that there is not one singular website where you can go to see all of the listings. In the US, we're used to using sites like Zillow or Realtor.com, but here you really have to look in a lot of different places. For an idea of costs, I always start by looking at Idealista.com, but I don't want you to think that it's all there. That wouldn't be accurate. For me, it's always just a starting place when I want to get an idea of what's available in an area. If you pull up the site, if it's not in your language, you can select the language in the upper right-hand corner. So we're going to start by looking at rental properties and just typing in Altea. This next page will give you a map that breaks down the areas of Altea. So if you're wanting to look at homes specifically in the Old Town, or you really only want to see places near the beach, you can select the specific areas. For our search, we're going to go ahead and look at all of them, which is the button at the top. This first landing page is going to give us a variety of all the listings. Right away, we see a 158 square meter 2-bedroom apartment, which is about 1,700 square feet. It's got access to a pool, an elevator to the 3rd floor, and comes unfurnished at 1,500 euro per month. The next is a 3-bedroom apartment that is 130 square meters in the center of town for 1,200 euro per month. As we kind of scroll through each of these, I just want to remind you that it's important to look at the specific details of each property. I noticed that some are listing homes for just part of the year, some are short-term rentals, and some require a minimum of a year lease. So just make sure you don't get too excited about a property before making sure that the details align with your plans. If we go back to the top, I now want to sort by the lowest price. The cheapest option is $500 per month, and this little one-bed studio apartment says it's close to Altea, so it doesn't sound like it's right in the action. But it's also hard to beat €500 per month. From there, we have a few properties in the €600 range, and then we jump up into the €800 range. So we know that based on the other prices that we factor into cost of living, a single person here could pretty easily get by on €1,500 per month, keeping a strict budget in mind. And it seems as if you could live very comfortably for around €2,000 per month. I found this one really cute listing, which rents what appears to be a guest house that is 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and then shares the pool area with the tenants from the main house. €900 per month gets you this adorable space and includes water and electricity. I'd love a setup like that. Just for fun, we can take a look at the highest priced rentals, which kick us off with a whopping €30,000 per month. That's just insane to me, but hey, if you're in the market for a 16,000 square foot home, there is one available for you. From there, the price is nearly cut in half for the next listing, which is a 6-bedroom house for €16,500 per month. After that, we see a few options in the €10,000 range, and they drop pretty significantly from there. Okay, now let's take a look at the cost to buy a home in Altea. We'll kick this off by starting with the highest priced homes. You can see the top listing come in at just under €10 million. This will get you an 11-bedroom home with a pool, tennis court, solar power, and it borders a pine forest for lots of privacy and quiet. From here, we see a lot of listings in the €8 million range, but you might notice that a lot of them look like the same house. And that's because they probably are. This goes back to my point about real estate not being regulated in Spain. A lot of sellers will list with different agents. The agents don't often have exclusive rights, so whoever sells it is the one who gets the commission. Even going down to the $6 million range, we see the same thing again with duplicate properties. I always like to tell people that if you find a house you like, be sure to Google the address because you may just find it listed on another site for less. This won't be with every property, obviously, but I've seen it several times, so it's worth a quick search. Another tip to remember is that just because there is a listing price doesn't mean you can't negotiate or make an offer. You never know what deal you might get. Okay, now let's take a look at the lowest priced homes. Right away, we're going to see that there are only 2 listings under the $100,000 range. So I think it's probably fair to say that if you want to buy an Altea, you likely need to be walking in the door with at least €100,000 to spend. That's not to say that there aren't deals out there, but it doesn't look like there will be an abundance of them. Keep in mind that Altea is on the smaller side and the location is pretty amazing. As we go through the first page, there are a lot of okay options in the €150,000 range. For this price, you can either get a decent looking apartment or a house in the countryside needing a lot of renovation. In the €180,000 to €190,000 range, you've got a lot of slightly nicer looking apartments or ones that look like they're located near the beach. In the €300,000 range, we're seeing another step up in both the level of luxury of the apartment facilities, as well as many with incredible views of the sea. As you can probably see, there is something within most every budget range. It really just depends on what you are looking for and if you're willing to spend a bit more to live in an incredible city like Altea. Are you considering buying an Altea, or are you looking to maybe visit? Let me know your plans in the comments. I have a ton of videos about buying homes in Spain and other cities like Altea too, so be sure to like this video and subscribe to join me every day where travel and adventure build financial freedom. I can't wait to see where your dreams will take you.